Hey guys, welcome back to What Do You Watch? I'm Michael Kovacevich, and this is my Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 6 video. Now before I get started, I want to apologize for not having an Episode 5 video. I know a lot of awesome stuff happened and I would have loved to talk about it, but I was out of town, so I did not have time to make a video. But I will say one thing, that death with the dragons, Daenerys had the two dragons rip the guy apart like it was Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Damn. Okay, so I wanted to kick things off with Arya. A lot of cool stuff happened. We actually got to go down and see what they do with the dead bodies, where they have all the faces, the Hall of Faces, where it's just pillars upon pillars of faces. Kind of reminds me of the Matrix, where they have all the bodies, all the people attached to the Matrix, kind of all in a big row. I mean, obviously not the same thing, but kind of that same feel I got out of that. On to Tyrion and Ser Jorah. Now, things are going a little bit better for these two. They're kind of getting along a little more, talking a bit. Jorah finds out that his father actually died, which was a really sad moment. But then they run into slavers. And this scene was scary for a second, because I thought for a second they might kill off Tyrion in just a really crappy, lackluster way, which would have just disappointed a lot of people. But the whole bit about having his cock chopped off was just hilarious. I couldn't tell if he was more afraid of dying or more afraid of losing his cock. But of course, he gets out of it the way he usually does, with his wit, and tells him how awesome of a fighter Ser Jorah is, which, you know, was a little far-fetched, but not entirely. Next up was a matchup that I thought was going to be a little more exciting. I thought it was going to maybe come a little later in the season. Jaime and Bronn versus the Sand Snakes. Now, I had talked about this a couple weeks ago in my last video, and I talked about how I thought someone was going to die in this confrontation. Now, because it happened so early, I was not expecting anybody to die when I went into it, but it did scare me a little bit, because Jaime against them, he's still learning how to fight with his left hand, and it's a little bit of a struggle. But of course, it got broken up, nobody died, and yeah, it was a little anticlimactic. But I'd like to see how that progresses going into the future episodes. Like, are the Sand Snakes going to now be in prison? Are they going to get released? Or like, what the hell's going to happen to Jaime and Bronn? God only knows. So, yeah. I mean, if the Martells really want to get back at Cersei, they ship her brother's head back to him. Next, I want to talk about Cersei's plan that I talked about in previous episodes. How it's finally starting to kind of come together, but how it might be working against her as well. So Loras has a hearing, and at the end of the hearing, both him and Queen Marjorie are now going to be on trial. A little bit scary for them, but the Queen of Thorns is there, their grandmother, and she ain't gonna let that shit fly. If you remember, her and Littlefinger were responsible for the death of Joffrey, and kind of the reason that Cersei is even more bat crazy than ever. And what I'm expecting is they're both in King's Landing right now. Queen of Thorns and Littlefinger. I'm expecting some collaboration going on. Maybe a little scene next episode where they're talking and they plot a little bit. Or maybe like the last plot, we just see the end result. Now, who's next to die? Cersei's pretty high up on their hit list at the moment, so watch out. And now for the saddest part and the end of the episode, Ramsay marries Sansa. I was hoping this would happen a little later in the season, and maybe someone else would get in there and stop it or try to break it up, but it was a pretty low-key wedding, happened outside, not a lot happened, nothing special, until the bedding scene. Yikes. Ramsay's like, no, Reek, you stay in here and you watch this shit. The look on Reek's face, the look on Theon's face, was just, I thought he was gonna go. I thought that was the moment that Ramsay is gonna get effed over and either get killed, get his dick chopped off, something. But Reek just stayed there and let it vent up. But that's gonna break loose sooner or later. There is no way Reek is just gonna stand by. He became this kind of dog, if you will. I mean, it's basically what he's turned him into, is just this obedient animal. But that's starting to break through. Like, this episode, Theon came back a little bit, because he had to. He had to give Sansa away, and he had to recognize who he was. But I feel like his mind is starting to come back a little bit, and hopefully to the point where he can just destroy Ramsay. I mean, I haven't wanted someone to die since Joffrey this bad, you know? I hope it's a painful death. I hope it's karma all day. I mean, I just can't wait. Alright guys, that's all I got for you this week. If I didn't cover something you wanted me to cover, go ahead and tell me in the comments. Please, leave a comment. First person to leave a comment, I will do a shout out. I'll give you a high five, somehow magically. Through the power of the internet, I'll send you a high five. Alright guys, as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and go over to whatdowewatch.com to get all of our content. Until next time, have a great day.